Welcome back to Planet Zoo with Salos Wildlife Park. Today we're tackling the project of my nightmares, a 2-level food and transport hub, complete with an upper deck monorail station. We're also expanding the pond habitat for the mute swans and mallards that we added in the last video, creating a beautiful backdrop for our diners. Let's get into it. Hi, hello, and hey to all of you watching. So yes, this is a weird little shape, but I saw this little number on Pinterest and completely fell in love with it. I just knew I wanted a big, grand building to kind of just make a statement, first thing for the park, and just get two of the major facilities I wanted in and out of the way to build upon later on through the project. And so when I was thinking about train stations and how I wanted it to be realistic and also multifunctional, my brain immediately went to King's Cross in London, the modern upstairs bit where it's just like a huge hall and then just a balcony of like restaurants and cafes overlooking everything. Really, really stunning building. And when I think of like high-tech, modern transport places, that's immediately what came to mind. But of course, translating that to Planet Zoo is a little bit more difficult. But more on that in a second. I wanted to carry on using the plaster pieces that I used in the entrance plaza with the earth tones to create kind of like a modern natural feel. I did this process on both sides, just mirrored it. With all of the glass and everything to create the bones of the structure. And I kind of skipped a lot of steps, but I needed to get the restaurant in to make sure that it worked, that it fit, and that I could cover it up with not only construction pieces, but the pathing system that I needed to have in place, which even with Rebuild was a challenge, and I didn't record any of it because it was painful. So here you can see that I've added in the restaurant as kind of like a faux open kitchen. And then of course, because the Planet Zoo guests will not go up here and order like actual human beings, they go to the little void on the left, so I added in an elevator kind of door shaft thing where, yeah, they just walk right through that wall and it looks like they're going into the elevator, when in reality they're going to the restaurant, but it makes it look functional and multi-purpose as well, because I only added stairs and I wanted it to be as accessible as possible, so 2 birds, 1 stone. I was quite proud of coming up with that idea. And even though the building itself is not finished, I needed to get to decorating. I did take a bit of a break because one day during breakfast I made these billboards just to pop around the park, and I wanted to get them in because I was very proud of them. I really liked how they look, and this blank wall in the entrance plaza was just bothering me. So short intermission here for the billboards. And if you want any, please just message me on Instagram. I'm happy to do some for you. I have Canva Premium and have done them for several people already. Lots of fun. So back to the restaurant, with all of that ugly pathing in, I needed to fill in the gaps, and all I did was add in mulch for the planters. I stole this blackboard situation from the cafe at the entrance of the park. I think it's just the rectangles in game, but just to serve as a faux menu. And then I just went on and tried to make this wall look a bit more appealing with these little, what are they? They're hexagons, these little shapes. I used them a lot in my first park that I have never shared and probably never will because it's a bit of an abomination, but I adored these little things and used them everywhere. And yeah, you can see I'm just having a whale of a time creating these little patterns with them. I think they're really lovely pieces. I did want the entire restaurant to feel quite like overgrown and lived in, if that makes sense, but kind of just a chill space. They definitely would serve, I don't know, like gluten-free vegan bowls or something here, and probably smoothie bowls of some kind. So I went about adding in some of these plant wall pieces, just really easy gap fillers, and this mulch drove me up the wall. I went back and edited it about 20 times and cut out probably a good 5 minutes of footage. But it was absolutely crucial. There was no way I could put just a bunch of plants up here without it. I do want to thank you for being here. I really enjoyed making these videos and discussing everything Planet Zoo with everyone on Discord, Instagram, etc. So thank you for being here. I hope you're enjoying my content. Here I'm just using blueprints to go around and make it look like an actual restaurant. This is Ricey's, I want to say generic restaurant decor off the workshop. It's beautiful. It was the exact aesthetic I wanted, and even though it's not functional, I think it still does the trick. And this little wall, I had no idea what to do with it, so I'm really glad that bench fit in perfectly. It was kind of, I was reaching the end of my ropes there. To be honest, I was thinking a lot about the mall that I grew up going to, because it had so many planters that were always super overgrown, and it had concrete floor like this as well. So a bit of a nostalgia trip for me here, making it look like an American mall that was probably built in the 90s. Yeah, just standard menu text. I think I again pulled these from the cafe that I built in the first episode. I don't know. I removed the menu at the back, and I honestly might just create a menu billboard and upload it, because I don't know, I feel like it still needs something a bit more substantial back there, but we will see. If it bothers me, it bothers me. If not, then, you know, we live to see another day. But on the topic of the future, the next episode will be a habitat again. There is a small sneak peek of it and the cinematics at the end. It's honestly my favorite build in the whole zoo still, and it's so simple, but it was just a lot of fun, and I adore the animals. But for this build, I originally wanted to have bison, maybe a few other like hoofstock or something with them directly to the right of the restaurant, so that they could essentially come up to the glass and be very close to the diners. But one, I didn't know how I felt about bison being that close to sitting people on the other side of glass. It just didn't feel, one, realistic, or two, super safe, even if it is like triple padded glass. I have no idea. I also didn't want the guests like standing up and crowding the dining area and trying to get a good look, so I was thinking of other ideas, and while doing that, I fell in love with the swans and the mallards from the last episode, so I was like, okay, I'll just give them a bit more space, and yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out. So finally upstairs with the monorail station, and the beginning steps of this upstairs area were, one, painful for me, and two, just incredibly boring. Even if I had recorded them, I don't think I would have included them into the video, because it was just me arguing with the concrete pieces and the transport placement. It was nothing spectacular. If you really want me arguing with some floor, here it is, me going in and trying to select this bit of brick. I did like the idea of using this brick that I used in the entrance here. I think it works really well, and it makes everything look a bit more clean. So, yeah, quite pleased with the aesthetic of the station itself. I feel like the Planet Zoo transports are quite difficult to blend into the surroundings, and maybe that's just me being a noob with my only like 350 hours on the game, which is absolutely nothing, it's pennies. But I did try and just expand the realism as much as I could with these barriers and everything, not these barriers, these curbs. because this is what a train platform would actually look like. And that meant fences and lots of hazard curbs and all of that stuff. And to appease my massive concerns with this, because I had to sink the transport below the floor to get it to work with the path. I just don't get me started. I used these marquee beams to create a faux track. And no, I do not finish them in this video because the track itself is not finished. It will probably be one of the last things I do in the entire zoo because I want it to be as scenic as possible, and I'm just not 100% where things are going to go, and to be honest, I don't want my guests complaining in the meantime, so I've redone it about 3 times as I've built up new habitats and stuff. But just know, I know it's not lined up, I know it's not perfect, there's a reason, and it will be at the end of everything. Here, I am just cleaning up my mess that this concrete flooring left for me downstairs to make it look a bit more appealing. This entire build was quite frustrating, but I am still really proud of it. I've never built anything like this, and it taught me a lot of lessons, so including that the tracks should probably be straight, just maybe, underneath the transport. I've only ever used the monorail and the gondolas in the game, but I don't know, I think the monorails are the prettiest. Maybe not the easiest to implement, but I think they're probably the most realistic outside of, like, I don't know, we do have the Jeep, so I can't say anything. I'm just a huge train nerd. And I did name the establishment the station because I'm just not that creative, if I'm honest. I thought about doing something cute, like, you know, Alpaca Crossing or something silly, but I thought just a simple and modern name would suit, and the station is definitely what someone would name, like, a high-end restaurant in London next to a huge rail station of some kind. That just 100%, that's a Spoons or something of that genre. So yeah, I thought it worked. And here I've finally gone in and done some landscaping. I just layered the rocks like I did in the last episode. Again, they're just the taiga rocks because they're my favorite, and that's literally all there is to it. I'm pulling a lot of foliage from the other marshy pond area to get it all to blend together nice and seamlessly. Oh, and there's a little mallard right there. How lovely. I had expanded their habitat at this point to make sure they were happy with it. Of course they were happy with it, it's more space, but you know, I just wanted them to be involved. And that's pretty much the rest of the footage. The cinematics I originally took of this build were just not great, so I went back and redid them this week. And I think they're some of my best yet, so I hope you enjoyed them, but more importantly, you can see a lot of the park in the back. There's a lot of catching up we have to do, and I have a lot more free time nowadays, so I'm able to do so. So if you haven't yet, in standard YouTube fashion, please consider subscribing. I'm still building the channel. It's very small, but I'm very proud of it so far, and would love to just expand my community. If you're here from Discord, hello. Lovely to see you guys again. So I'll be back in another day or two with an actual habitat build, and thank you again so much for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!